It's time to take 10 minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to a discussion of Parshat Bemidbar, Irreplaceable. We look at the Parsha, it speaks a lot about counting. We should count them with their names. Lift up the heads of every person. We want to count their numbers. This book has been called the Book of Numbers in English, perhaps in Septuagint, and also the rabbis call it Chomesh HaPekudim, the Book of Counting. When we think of counting, we might think of it, the way that unfortunately through the Holocaust, the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, they put those numbers on people's arms, and as if everyone is just a number. So in that sense, everyone's replaceable. They're just a number. On the other hand, if you count in a certain way, it could be very humanizing. That, what do you mean? We have 595 people, not 500 people, or not 590 people, 595. Whatever the number is for that particular tribe, or that particular unit of tribes, the three tribes together, the flag, that's the number. And each person counts, each person makes a difference. So, on the one hand, there are two sides to counting. Counting can be dehumanizing. On the other hand, counting can edify and show that each person counts. We want to know who's missing. Is anybody here missing? They're going out to battle. When they count before they go, it's like the bus monitor, right? But you count before you go, you have 500 people. You come back, are there still 500? Sometimes there are battles where it says, V'lo nifkad menu ish. When the Jews fought at the end of this book, they'll fight against Midian. No one was missing. I was there during Lebanon War. They said, l'chol matoseinu shalom, all of our airplanes are safe. That was a great achievement, very, very happy and joyous for all the people whose children came home that day. To emphasize this idea of the importance of every individual, there's a notion that says in the Rashi that they were counted on the voice of God, on the mouth of God. So what does that mean? So he says that Moshe was afraid to go into the tents. He's going to go in. The mothers are nursing their babies, or what? It's not doable. So God says, "Don't worry, stand outside, and I will tell you how many people are in this tent." God cares how many people are in this tent. Do they have 5 children? Do they have 4 children? Do they have 7 children? Do they have 8 children? This is not a trivial matter. Something that Moshe, the great leader, the great teacher, God, the great master of the universe, should he care about? But no, we don't have that kind of God. This is not the God of philosophy where he doesn't care about the details. No, every person counts. When you do things, Rav Moshe Lichtenstein pointed out, when you do things sort of industrially, we have an army. Army is an industrial program. You have troops, and these troops and those troops, and this brigade and that brigade. And, what's the number? So if you have 500 or you have 499, it may not seem so important. But here it says, mispar shemot, with the number of names. The Ramban suggests that every single person would go and tell their name. They would say, okay, who's next? Okay, Moshe, good. Aaron, good. Elazar, check. They would mention their names. So we're not counting numbers, we're counting names. So from this perspective, yes, we're counting, but we're counting names, not numbers. As that expression has become a popular expression, that after the Holocaust, we have to realize we are all names, not numbers. But this may suggest that you can't replace anyone else. Meaning, let's say a great scholar dies. You say, "Oi, what are we going to do now? The door is Yasom. We've forgotten the day that Rebbe died, the Rebbe Yehuda Nasi died. The Jews forgot so many things. And the day that Moshe Rabbeinu died, there were so many things they forgot." Rebbe Lazar was going to his next world. He says, hundreds of halachos I haven't taught you. You don't know them. It's true. Every person has so much to teach, so much we can learn from, right? Who's a wise person who learns from every person? But if so-and-so is dead, you can't learn from him anymore. So it's tragic. There's a loss. There's an irreplaceable loss. But at the same time, as a community and as individuals, we can't take that approach. We can't say, "Oh, Rabbi Soloveitchik died. We're just lost. We have no idea what to do." No, we can't take that approach. People rose up. Rabbi Schechter, Rabbi Lichtenstein, other people rose up. Rose up and said, "No, we can take that mantle." Yes, Rabbi Soloveitchik was unique, but we can. There are those who can stand in his footsteps. Maybe they're not the same, they're different. Maybe they have a certain milos that are even greater. But the point is that we don't give up, as it says in Pirkei Avos chapter 2, Mishnah 5, that when there is no other person, you should try to be something. As the Vadia Bartanura said, if there's no people to be in the front and be the leader, you will have to be the leader. You have no choice. You will have to stand in their stead. Can you ever replace Moshe Feinstein? Can you ever replace certain people? No, you can't replace them. But there is a notion of replacement. How do we know that? This parsha, which says, let's know exactly how many people there are. As Rashi said, Nechi Basun Shel Yisrael. God loves us so much, He wants to know every single one like a jewel. Do I have 5 diamonds or I have 6 diamonds? It's very important. It's expensive. It's beautiful. I love it. I treasure it. I want to count it. How much is in my bank account? How much is in my 401k? I want to know, is it this much? Is it that much? It's valuable. So too, every Jew, for God, not just for us, but for God, every Jew is so valuable. That's why He counts us so often, says Rashi. But on the other hand, the end of the parsha says that let's switch it out. The Bechorim, the firstborn of the Jews, were not doing their job. The firstborn were involved in the golden calf. So God says, let's switch them out. It's true. There's nothing like a firstborn, people whose parents' whole aspirations were sunk into that particular person, all their energies. Kol chivrei shitoni, as Yaakov says about Reuven, you're my first of my strength, the first of my powers, the first of my parental efforts went into you. The firstborn should be so special, and perhaps they are special genetically. Often the firstborn has a little edge on the others. He's born when the parents are a little younger, fresher, and there's a certain advantage there. But we say, no, the Levites, they're going to have to stand up. Makom Sheni, there's no one there. If the firstborn are not ready up to that task of being the leaders of the Jewish people, the spiritual leaders, then the Levites, you have to switch them. You have to count the Levites and switch the Levites with the Bechorim. This idea of switching roles is something that we have to appreciate. Later in this book, we're going to have Aaron dies. You can't replace Aaron. There's no one like Aaron. We're trying to be students of Aaron. But Elazar was given his clothing and he stood in his stead. We don't replace people, but we have to stand in their shoes. We have to do it. The idea of Yibum, the idea of the Levirate marriage, which we'll encounter in the book of Ruth, or we'll encounter some whiffs of it in the book of Ruth, is also this idea that Ruth could have children and that you can't replace the children who died, Machlon and Kilion, but on the other hand, you can remember their names, and in some way, some mystical way, some mysterious way, our lives can somehow stand in the footsteps of those who came before, so that we don't replace them, but we do stand in their stead. The lesson of our parsha is, on the one hand, that every Jew counts. We are irreplaceable. There's no one like you. You are unique. As the Mishnah in Sanhedrin says, that God made with one seal the image of God, but every person is so different because there's so many reflections of God. God contains infinite expressions, and each person is another expression of what a great thing, a great human being could be. Each person irreplaceable, but at the same time, when someone passes away, when someone is not available, when someone doesn't do their job, when someone doesn't step up to the plate, there can be a pinch hitter. There can be someone else who can come in and ishtadel yodish and try to be the man, be the one for the job. The Levites can come in, swoop in, and say, okay, we'll do the job. We're going to do it. Elazar can come in and stay instead of his father. Yeshua is going to have to do it. In this book of Bemidbar, Yeshua is going to have to step up and step in to the shoes of Moshe. There's no choice about it. People can replace the function of a person. They're not identical. They're not always as good, but they can come in and play that role. That's our job. Makom sheinish ishtadel yodish. When there's no one else, it's our job to step in, do what we can, and try the best we can to replace the irreplaceable. Thank you for joining us here at the Baron Hirsch Congregation. Join us each week for a discussion of the Parsha and the holidays. And thanks to our anonymous donor in honor of Avas Torah, the love of Torah. And thanks to Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.